What's going on, guys? Welcome back to another tutorial. This is part 1 in my 3-part series where I basically go over Onshape for complete beginners. So I'm splitting up this series into 3 parts: the sketch, the part studio, and the assembly studio. So today we're going to be focusing on the different things you can do in your sketch tool, which is honestly like the foundation of Onshape, and everything kind of builds off it. So first off, you want to go into your part studio, and I like to hide my right and front plane, and I like to just work on my top plane for my initial sketches. So if you're following along with this video, that's what I recommend you do. And then you got your sketch tool in the top left, or you could press Shift S on your keyboard, and it's going to bring you into this sketch interface. And the first thing it says to do is to select a sketch plane. Now, a plane is any one of these little flat objects you see. So it could be the top plane, the front plane, the right plane, or if you wanted to, you could create planes, like make them so they're offset if you want. But for this tutorial, I'm going to be just showing you guys how to create a sketch on the top plane. So we have our plane selected, and now you see all of these different options you can select or deselect. I like to just keep it like this, with disable imprinting off, show constraints off, show expressions off, and show errors on. So that's just kind of how I like to work with Onshape, using those settings. So let's get right into it. So the first thing you're going to have here is your line. So a line is just basically exactly what it sounds like, a straight line. Now this is basically like the most simple way you could make something. You could draw, say you wanted to draw a little box, and as you can see, once you close off the box, it turns this dark color. So before I close off the box, it's this light color. That means it's not solved. So when it's not solved, that means you can't extrude the box, or you can't make this bigger. So say I wanted to extrude this, which is kind of getting into the part studios, but look, it won't let me select it. So, but once I come in here and I close off the box, and now it's a dark color, I want to extrude it, and it'll let me extrude it into the box, which is very convenient. Now, another thing you want to know, and this is kind of just in general for sketches, when you see these blue lines and blue dots, that means it's not fully defined. So that means you can still move these in some of the directions, but when you see a black line, that means it is defined, or that it is fully fixed. That means it can't move, unlike these ones. And if you want to turn these blue lines into these black lines, you can simply use this fix tool. So you can just fix, or using Shift J on your keyboard, and now this whole thing is completely solved. I can't move it anywhere. So that's just something you could use to do that. Alright, moving on. The next thing is going to be the midpoint line. This is just basically a line where you start from the middle and you go outward. So this is good for when you want to make things symmetrical or something like that. And these numbers that you enter into here, this shows the full length. It doesn't show half. So say you have a midpoint line and you need it to be 20 on each side, you would type in 40. So then the whole thing is 40 long. So, and that's another thing I should say. When you draw a line, so say I draw this midpoint line, and I click again, and now before I press anything else, I can start typing numbers in on my keyboard. So I could click 56, and then you could add millimeters, or you could add inches, or whatever you want, and then you can click check. So again, that's choose your line, click once, click another time, and then you see this little white box. That means you're editing it, so you could click 65, enter. So it's pretty simple. And then for deleting, I like to just highlight, select, delete. Pretty simple. Okay, moving on. Now you got your corner rectangle box, or you could use the G command on your keyboard. Now I would say this is probably one of the most common tools used. You can easily use it to create your boxes, and as you can see, I've created my box, and you can see how when I hover over this one it lights up, and I hover over this one it lights up. So I'm hovering over this one, I'll type in 40, and I'll hover over this one and I'll type 80. So now my box is 40 by 80 millimeters. And that's another thing. Say you're in the US or in Canada or wherever you're located, and they use different measurement systems. So you can just head up to these 3 little lines in the top and click on workspace units, and then you can easily change that from centimeters to millimeters to meters to whatever you want. I like to work in millimeters just because it's the easiest for me to kind of wrap my head around. Okay, moving on to the center point rectangle. You can also use the R command on your keyboard. So this, you click in the middle of where you want it, and you can drag it out length and width. And again, you can edit these numbers however you want. And yeah, it is very helpful when you want to make something in the middle. And then you got your aligned rectangle. Now this one I don't really use that much, to be honest, but basically how it works is you create one line and then you can kind of just extend it into your rectangle. So this could be good. So say you have like a regular rectangle, and then you want to make it, I don't know, you want a box inside of it. So you could go here, here, and as you can see, when I hover over a line, it highlights and then it snaps in the middle. So let me know it's in the middle. So then I can go like this, do something like this if you wanted to. The applications for this kind of thing are kind of weird, but yeah, it's just something that Onshape has as a tool. Next thing is going to be the center point circle command. Now this is just basically a circle. It's nothing really much to it, just basically making a circle. As you can see, this one works the same way. When it lights up, you can change the thing. But another thing I should mention, say you don't want that measurement and it's just blue, you can always just use the dimension tool to redimension it if it's not working for you. So yeah, so even if you don't dimension it right away, you can dimension it at any point during the sketch very easily. Now the 3-point circle is just basically what it sounds like. You make 3 points and then it connects those all using a circle. So I could do a point here, do a point here, and then do my last point right here. And I have my 3 points and it connects those using a circle, which is pretty cool. And it could be good. A good use case where I like to use this is, say I have a circle, but then it kind of got cut up a little bit, and I want to reform my circle. I like to just use a 3-point circle, click on this point, use a 3-point circle, and click on 3 points that are there, and that kind of helps me get my circle back if I ever lose it for some reason. Or another helpful use case of this would be, and you see this little line I'm drawing to kind of delete these parts? That's just the trim command. It's called M on the keyboard. We're going to get into it later in the video. So say I have like this little section of the circle remaining, and I want to find out what the big circle look like. I can just click on 1, 2, 3, and then all of a sudden I have the big circle back, which can be useful and also can be weird case scenarios, but next, we got the ellipse. This doesn't have a shortcut on your keyboard, so you just kind of have to click it from the top. And this is for creating irregular sphere shapes. Like, you want something that's curved, but you don't want it to be a circle, so you can kind of use this. You basically click on it, click once for wherever you want the middle to be. So say I want the middle right here. And then I drag it out. I could drag it out at any angle I want. And I'm basically defining the width. So how wide I want it to be, and now I'm defining how skinny or tall I want it to be. So yep, that is pretty useful. Then we got a bunch of different settings in here. So let's start with the 3-point arc. This is what it sounds like, 3 points, and it gives you an arc. Nothing much to it. You can also use the A command on your keyboard for that. The next one is going to be the tangent arc. So for the tangent arc, you already have to have 2 lines. So say I have these 2 lines and I'm like making something over here, like I don't know, like a little mini house or something like that. And I need a little curved section to this top. I can click the tangent arc, click here, here, and now I can just simply, it just creates a little tangent arc for that. Very, very useful. Center point arc, you start in the center, it shows you the circle, but you don't want the full circle. You only want, say, 90 degrees, or you want, say, 180 degrees, or 360 degrees. You choose how much you want. It's very cool, but kind of niche use cases. Next, you got your ecliptical, however you say it. It's basically one of these eclipses, and it's the same thing as this one. Instead of showing the full eclipse, you choose how much of the eclipse you want to be shown. So I want the whole thing, half, and then you can kind of just edit that like that. And whenever you want to get rid of something, you can always just press Command Z on your keyboard to undo it, or select and delete. I like to just press Command Z. Then you got your conic. Again, 1, 2. It creates these cool curved shapes, which can be helpful when you want to create more organic looking shapes. Next, you got your inscribed polygon and your circumscribed polygon. Okay, first, inscribed polygon. They both are very similar, just slight variations. So you click in the middle and you can drag it out, and now it's going to say how many sides you want. So you bring your mouse up for more sides, bring your mouse down for less sides. So you can get out to 3 to 4 to 10. So let's say we want to make an octagon. Now you can use your dimension tool and dimension how big you want one side to be, dimension how big you want the whole thing to be. Just change up a bunch of things. Then you can always change this. So say you don't want it to be 8 sides, you want it to be 100 sides. So and then you can see here, it's basically like a circle, which is very cool. But the one thing you will notice about the inscribed polygon is it makes this circle in the middle, which is basically to show you how the geometry is working. Or you could do the whatever this one's called, polygon, which basically the only difference is the circle's on the outside. So say you need to fit it into a circular area or something like that, yeah, you can just use this. Okay, moving on, you got the spline tool. Now the spline tool is probably one of my favorite tools, to be honest, because it just allows me to create a bunch of different shapes and kind of do what I want with them. So I can create this shape, but then I can easily adjust all of these features and create something really cool. Now, you notice that I can only adjust where these dots are. When I try to adjust here, it kind of just adjusts the dots. So if I wanted to, instead of having to delete the whole thing, I could just choose add spline control point. So I could add a point here, add a point here, add a point here, and now I have much more control over how this shape is going to look, which could be helpful, but also it can make the curves a little bit more dramatic. So I encourage less of these control points, but if you need more, it doesn't hurt to add 1 or 2. Okay, your next thing is going to be the Bezier. Sorry, some of these are kind of hard to pronounce, as you might be able to tell. But basically, you can create a kind of shape with this, and then double click to finish it, and it just kind of allows you to have a little bit more control over exactly how it is going to be. So pretty useful. Also kind of a little bit weird. Next, point, or you could use the Shift S command. Now this is just to create a point on your document. So you can then use these points as reference and connect the dots, or say you wanted to mark out something. Yeah, that's what a point is kind of good for. Okay, next you got your text command, which you just simply drag it. In the top here, you could say, I want to add some text, and you can choose your font. It'll give you a little preview on how it's going to look, and click check. And then you can see, you could, if you wanted, just extrude all of those, and now you have your text, which is kind of helpful if you want to make some things with words. I don't love the UI of the text, but it's kind of hard for them. Okay, next, this is probably my most useful command that I didn't know when I first started, but as I kind of got more into it, I started like learning more about it and stuff like that. And okay, so right now I'm just kind of setting it up. Okay, so right now I'm going to sketch on my top plane. But before, I made this sketch on my plane 1, and I want to reference it on my top plane. So what I could do is I could individually measure this out and bring it up to here. Or I could use my use command, which is basically projecting, or using the U on my keyboard, and I could hover over these lines, and now I'm bringing them up to this face. So it's kind of like copying it. You could also do it for like an already extruded part. So say I have this part extruded, and I want to reference it down here. I go here, and say I want to project something off this extruded part, you could very easily do that. And it is very helpful. I actually really like this little tool Onshape created. And then your next one is your intersect command, which is basically the same thing, but it's for doing these different curved faces. So yeah, it's also very helpful. And then you got your construction lines. So you first have your regular lines, which what your regular lines do is, when solved, allow you to extrude them, which are good. But sometimes you want to make lines on your document to help you line stuff up or stuff like that. So that's what that's where you could use your construction line tool. Now, clicking on your construction line, you could easily change these lines to be construction, 2, 3, and you click on construction, and now these are construction lines. So now if I wanted to extrude them, I can't because they're construction lines. So let me just give you a quick use case of where this would be useful. So I want to split this circle up into parts. So I'm going to click on my Q, and then I'm going to click on my construction line, and I want to split this circle up into parts. But I still want to be able to extrude it. So I have this, so now I know what a little quarter of the circle will look like. So I could use that to maybe reference something, but I don't want it interfering with my extruding. So yeah, it's just kind of that's pretty useful. And then your construction lines can also be used on not just lines. They could be used on, say you want to make a circle, but then you want to make that circle a construction circle. You can very easily just do that. So very helpful, I would say. You next got your sketch fillets and sketch chamfers. All they are, Shift S on your keyboard, click 2 lines, drag it in, drag it out. Very easy, very simple. Chamfer, same thing, but just makes it a straight edge. Very simple, very easy. Next, you got your trim command, which we kind of got into earlier, and it's very helpful. So what your trim command does, it allows you to trim off little line segments. So say I wanted to trim off this segment or this segment, you just simply press down and drag, and whatever it comes across, it'll erase. So it's very helpful. Next, you got your extend command, or X on your keyboard. So say you have a little line here, and then you have a line here, and you just want to make this line a little bit longer. Click X on your keyboard, and you could just simply click on it and drag it out. So you want to drag it to there, click on it, drag it out, click on it, drag it out, stuff like that. Very good. Then you got your split command. So say I want to split this line up into segments. You could very easily just break it up into equal parts or unequal parts, whatever you kind of want. It's very helpful. Next, you got your offset command. So I really like this one. So say you have a part that needs to fit into another part, like say a friction fit, but you don't want it, but you need a little bit of clearance. You can easily use your offset tool, click all of your parts that you want to offset, and then you could drag it inwards or outwards or inwards or outwards or inwards, and click check. You could change it. But now, a lot of people find difficulty with this because they don't use it properly. So a big issue people find is they get this error message where they try to do offset, but it's not a single chain. So basically what that means is it needs to all be consecutive. So we could just, so you see here how all these lines are consecutive, but then the circle is not consecutive with the line. So that's just gonna break it. So I would just watch out for that. If you ever get that error message, it's very easy fix. Next, you got your slot tool, which could be also very helpful. This, you just select your lines, and it creates a little slot on the inside or outside. And yeah, it's kind of like the opposite of the offset tool. So pretty useful. Oh, I think I'm just slotting over and over again. Delete. Oh yeah. Next, you got your mirror tool. Obviously very easy. You need a straight line to use the mirror tool. Then you could just take whatever's on this side. First says select your mirror line, select mirror line, select this circle, and now they're mirrored perfectly, which looks very cool. Can delete that, don't really need that. Then you got your linear pattern. Linear pattern is exactly what it sounds like. It makes a pattern in a linear direction. So you could click on this, and it'll give you the option. So how many times do you want it to go down? Say we want it to go 3 times down, and we want it to repeat 4 times. Now you could easily adjust this, how far you want it spaced out, how far you want it spaced out this way. It is just a very good tool so you don't have to repeat the same design thing over and over again. It's very helpful. And your next tool is going to be your circular pattern. So circular pattern, it doesn't have to be a circle, it could be any shape. So you wanted a rectangle, and you select your things you want a circular pattern, and then you could move the origin. So where you want it to circular pattern around. You could change the amount of times you want it to circular pattern, change how far you want it spaced out, everything like that. Very helpful, very good tool that they added. Next, you got your transform tool. So say you make this very complicated design over here, and you don't want to remake it over on this side. What you could very easily do is select it, go to transform, and now you could adjust how big it is, drag it, and do basically everything you need to do to adjust it, to simply move stuff around in the sketch. Now you got your insert DXF or DWG, which they are pretty good. Pretty helpful. Let me see if I have any. Basically what a DXF and a DWG is it's like a sketch that someone else has already made. So you could find these online, and then you could just mess around with them in your own document. And you could also insert an image. Very good, very helpful. We've already went over what that dimension tool is, but in case you don't remember, let me just kind of refresh. You can make a circle, and first you could dimension it like this. But then if you don't want that dimension, you could use the dimension tool. And you could basically dimension everything. So say I want to make how far this is from the origin. I could say it's 1. Oh, I guess you can't do that. So say I have a line, and I want to dimension it how far it is from the origin. Using the D command on my keyboard, just simply click, and you could change that. And then it could change how long I want the line, change how long I want the line. Yeah, you can basically use this to completely solve your sketch and just get everything sorted out. Coincident, or using the I command on your keyboard is another very useful one. Say you have a bunch of lines like this, and you want to turn it into a box. Simply use the coincident tool, click on the corners, and then you could just simply turn this into a box. But you can see it's not a perfect box, so that's where you could use the parallel tool. So you could set both these sides parallel, set both these sides parallel, but it's still slanted. So you could use your perpendicular command to go like this, to go like this, and now you have a box. That was kind of a long-winded way to make that. Okay, concentric, Shift O on your keyboard. Now I really like this command. So say I have 2 circles and I want to make them so that they are inside of each other. I can just simply click on the 2 circles, and now their middles are lined up. So this could be very good in many different scenarios. Parallel tool, kind of already showed you it earlier. You have 2 lines and you want them to be parallel. Click one line, and now they're parallel. You can use the B command on your keyboard for that. Then you got your tangent. So this is when you want a straight line to intersect with a curved or circular face. So you got your thing, and you want these to intersect, but you don't want to intersect it using the coincident tool, because you don't want this line going to this line. You simply want this straight face going up against this, touching it. So it's intersecting in one point exactly. So this is, I feel like I'm just saying all of these are useful, but they actually are all pretty useful. Now you can use your H command for the horizontal, and this will just make it horizontal in regards to the document. So Onshape has its own up, down, and north, south, east, west. So now that's making it horizontal from the west, east. And you can do the same thing, but for vertical, and just make it so it is straight up and down. Very simple. Next, you got your perpendicular command, or your Shift L on your keyboard. And that is very good when you want to make 2 lines perpendicular. Nothing much to it. Yeah, it's pretty good command. It creates 90-degree angles. Now you got your equals command. So say I have two lines and a triangle, but I want to make all these sides the same. So I could easily just do that with my equal command. So now I have a perfect, what's that one word? Isosceles? I think it's isosceles. Triangle. You got your midpoint line. So your midpoint line could be used for is when you have 2 points. So say I have this line here, and I want to put this line right in the middle. I could easily just click midpoint and boom, now it goes straight to the middle. And that is pretty useful, yeah. So now, yeah, you could just easily use that. And then you got your normal. So your normal, so say you have a circle and you have a line over here, and you want this line to intersect in the middle or the normal of the circle. Click on your line, click on your circle, and now it's piercing right through the middle. So pretty useful. Pierce command, Shift G on your keyboard. I like this command a lot. It allows you to take a line and simply pierce the side of the thing. Doesn't seem to be working right now. We'll move on. You got your symmetric command. You have to have a straight line for this one. And you have a circle on this side and a circle on this side. And you want these two to be symmetric. So you click on your line and you click on your two objects and boom, now they are symmetric. You could change them and they will respond according to this line that you created. Now you got your fix command. Your fix command, as you can see when these lines are blue, it means that nothing is constrained and everything can move freely. Using your fix command allows for you to fix this object in place. Now nothing can be moved. You can also use the Shift J command on your keyboard. Then your last one is going to be your curvature, which allows you to put lines. So say you have a curved line. Let me just delete this real quick. You have a curved line, and then you have a line here. Now you could use your curvature command, and now they are intersecting. So I have basically no experience with that command, but I can say that with the information in this video, you should be able to make basically any sketch you could imagine. So with any sketch you could imagine, you want to use those in the Part Studio, which is what I'm going to show you guys next. So I'm going to show you how to actually turn these sketches into really cool 3D models. So that's basically what the next video is going to be about. Now, this might seem like a lot to remember, and it honestly is. So that's why I created this mouse pad, which is basically a complete guide for beginners and advanced people who want to start to learn Onshape and CAD. It shows you every single tool, or like most of the tools in Onshape. So as you can see, you got all the sketch tools that we learned in this video, and they're all on here. You got your keyboard command, you got a little short image of what it does, the title, and a short description. So everything's really short and sweet, and it just gives you exactly what you need to know, nothing you don't. So in this next video, I'm going to be showing you guys all of these tools in the Part Studio. And then finally, I'm going to be showing you guys all the tools in the assembly. So if you want one of these for yourself, you can check it out in the description. I highly recommend you at least giving it a look. You don't have to buy one. I just made it because it might be helpful to some of you guys. Thank you guys for watching, and I will see you in Part 2.